one to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's video, the key points will be a significant severe weather outbreak today into your Monday across the eastern U.S., as well as the extreme heat that continues to build across the southern and western parts of the country, and then your full tropical weather update later on in today's video. But if you're not a new subscriber to the channel, make sure you are subscribed so you get daily weather updates on this channel, including southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics. And also very important to press the thumbs up button as it helps to get all of this weather information out to as many people as possible. That helps me out, and I appreciate everybody's support here on the channel. So make sure to press the thumbs up button down below the video, and it really does help out. So getting into the weather forecast here, looking at the infrared satellite imagery this morning, a very nice looking low pressure system across the upper Midwest here is traversing across northern Iowa. You have a stronger cold front extending down from that through the Missouri Valley into the deep south here, and you just see a little bit of some wraparound moisture as well through the eastern Dakotas. That's that rainfall there that's going to be moving through portions of Iowa into northern Illinois as we move over the next 24 to 48 hours here. And so looking at the pressure anomaly, this is anomaly from normal. So wherever you see the deep blues here, this is a stronger low pressure system than we typically see this time of year. And you can see it starting to strengthen here across Iowa today. It'll push east across the southern Great Lakes region, getting into your Monday tomorrow on August 7th. And it will be strengthening along the way as well, down to a 1,003 millibar low by your Monday time frame, and then strengthen even further as it crosses into New England on Tuesday, August 8th, down to a 996 millibar low at this point as it crosses over those areas. Going back to yesterday, very busy day on the severe weather front from your Saturday, August 5th. We had lots of wind reports here, up to 94 of them, 8 tornadoes reported as well, and that number could grow. We also had 37 hail reports, so 139 severe weather reports all told. Going back to your Saturday, August 5th, mainly across Kansas was kind of the ground zero for that severe weather yesterday. But going ahead to today, we have a slight risk, a large slight risk across portions of the Illinois Valley, back here through the lower Ohio Valley and the deep south here. We're keeping an eye on these areas as well, from Springfield, Illinois, down through Nashville, to Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, the Atlanta region, and over here toward Louisville as well, for the potential for scattered severe weather as we go throughout your Sunday. And the tornado risk today is maximized with a 5% shading across south central Illinois, so around the St. Louis area, getting in towards Springfield, Illinois, and down here toward Carbondale. We need to keep an eye on the potential for rotating thunderstorms later on through the day today. So looking here this afternoon, this kind of shows you where those taller thunderstorms are going to be. So the brighter the color, the taller the thunderstorm will be. So you start to see some bright colors, but not as tall up here into the upper Midwest. That's mainly going to be some rainfall with some embedded thunderstorms. We may have to watch some of these up near the low pressure track here across Iowa and northern Illinois this afternoon, but some bigger thunderstorms will be developing down here into Tennessee and Alabama, even North Georgia this afternoon. We'll keep an eye on. Then we see a big blow up of storms as that low pressure crosses in here to northern Illinois. We're going to see that here blow up with storms in central and southern Illinois, and then those will move east into Indiana overnight tonight here, and those could be damaging wind and hail producers, as well as some embedded tornado producers as well. And then we'll watch that cold front extending down into the southeast, producing some severe weather at times across portions of the Atlanta area as we go throughout the night tonight. Then as we head into Monday, it takes a little bit of a turn as we head into Monday. We do have a new system trying to develop back here into the front range with a slight risk, but the big story is going to be the mid-Atlantic down here to the southeast, and kind of zooming it in to show you the areas at risk for severe weather. This is in the orange. That's a level 3 out of 5, an enhanced risk introduced by the Storm Prediction Center from Baltimore all the way down to the Atlanta region. So we are seeing a fairly widespread area of concern for your Monday tomorrow, and kind of walking you through the hazards here. There's a large area of a 2% shading of tornadoes. This covers southern New York State, much of Pennsylvania, all the way down here into the Huntsville, Atlanta region, Knoxville, Tennessee. Those areas could be seeing some tornadic thunderstorms on Monday, but the area of highest concern for tornadoes is actually in this brown shaded color from Baltimore back through Washington, D.C., the Charleston region, and getting into southeastern Ohio. Those areas could have a little bit more of an elevated threat for tornadic thunderstorms for your Monday, and the wind threat is going to be fairly significant as well. We have the 15 to 30% shading here in the yellow and red shaded colors of wind gusts that could be in excess of 60 miles per hour through the day on Monday. So we need to keep an eye on that from Baltimore all the way down to Atlanta. And the hail threat is there as well, mainly some quarter-size hail, but we could see some hailstones a little bit larger than that at times as we go throughout portions of the east as we go through Monday. So looking at the parameters in which we see the storms tomorrow, we have a lot of instability, folks. We're going to be seeing those moderate to strong instability values climbing up into that 2,000, 3,000, even approaching 4,000 joules per kilogram, especially with southward extent as you get into the western Carolinas, Georgia, and even into Tennessee for your Monday afternoon. And when combined with some strong wind shear with the mid-level jet streak all the way across these areas with the instability, yeah, that's where we're going to see that tornado risk especially be maximized up here to the north across the mid-Atlantic on your Monday. So we definitely need to keep an eye on this. And walking you through Monday afternoon, we have isolated supercells developing ahead of the cold front here with a maturing low pressure system up into the eastern Great Lakes region. That spells trouble for severe weather. So starting Monday afternoon, large hail, damaging winds, and a few tornadoes with those supercells. And then a big old line of storms will develop and move all the way to the east coast here from New York State, western Massachusetts, all the way down into Alabama and Georgia here. So this is going to be a pretty widespread signature to storms from this area here. So we need to keep an eye on this going into Monday evening. And you see some of these taller cores down here with the yellows and grays showing up. Those are those storms that could be 50, 60,000 feet tall and really pack a punch down here into the Carolinas, northern Georgia, and northeast Alabama especially. So we'll keep an eye on that as we go through Monday evening. And then we turn our attention back to the west. Like I was mentioning, we have a new storm system developing here by Tuesday. We have another slight risk of severe weather across portions of southern South Dakota through Nebraska, the Hastings area to North Platte, and then down into Goodland, Kansas there in northwest Kansas for more scattered supercells with damaging winds, isolated tornadoes, and large hail on Tuesday. And then that translates further east on Wednesday next week on August 9th across the Ozarks and into the Mid-South here, places like St. Louis, Kansas City, Tulsa, Springfield, the Paducah area, and maybe as far south as Little Rock and Memphis as well could get in on the severe storm action as we go into the day on Wednesday. And looking at Wednesday, could be a fairly significant day. This could also get upgraded to an enhanced risk as well with what I'm seeing here. The instability values will be fairly high for this time of year, getting in excess of 2,000, even 3,000 joules per kilogram down across the Ozarks into northern Arkansas, western Tennessee. So we need to keep an eye on Wednesday. That could be our next fairly significant day for severe weather, especially when looking at the wind shear value. So I just showed you the instability, and now you look at the wind shear overlapping that, and yeah, there's some strong values in here in excess of 50 to 60 knots, so that is fairly strong for this time of year. So we really need to keep an eye on Wednesday, and I definitely think this could get upgraded to an enhanced risk as we get closer. But in general, the total rainfall accumulation today through next Sunday on August 13th does paint a picture with the heaviest rainfall here across the Midwest, down through the lower Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley here, and then picking back up again across the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. And we can't leave out Quebec either. Quebec up into the Montreal region could be seeing some heavy rainfall as we go through that time frame as well. So a lot of heavy rain across the eastern two-thirds, but the western third is very dry, especially here into Oregon, California, Nevada, getting into the Four Corners region, the Lone Star State down here into Texas, western Louisiana, just very dry through the next 7 days. And that's because of the influence of that high pressure ridge and all that heat out there keeping us dry. And speaking of the heat, looking at today, we have that high pressure system down here across the southern Four Corners region and West Texas. That's where the center of that high pressure is. That is a pressure cooker down here, folks. It is hot as we go through the day today. As we go into the early work week here on Tuesday, much of the same. The heat will continue across the deep south and across the desert southwest. And even as we go into late next week on Thursday, August 10th, really just much of the same. That high pressure system is going to be hard pressed to move either way, west or east. It's going to be kind of locked in place across the Four Corners region and the Southern Plains going through late next week. So as such, this afternoon, a nice reprieve from the hot temperatures in Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, and parts of northern Oklahoma with temperatures in the 80s and 90s there. But the triple digits are back, and they're continuing across the portions of Texas. We're up to 107 in Dallas-Fort Worth, all the way up to the Wichita Falls region, 108 there in Abilene. So it's going to be very hot today. We're up to 111 in the Phoenix region this afternoon. And then as we go into Tuesday, we see much of the same here across portions of Texas. Lots of triple digits, with exception of the Texarkana region here, maybe up here just east of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, getting only, into the middle and upper 90s, 98 there in Amarillo. That's our cool down as we go into early next week. And then we see it surge back north again with that new system that we were talking about during the middle of the week, bringing severe weather across the mid-Missouri Valley. That's going to be enhancing some of that warm air as we get into the middle of next week and bringing that 100-degree line further north. So look at that again, 107 in Dallas, 108 in Wichita Falls, 109, maybe 110 there in the Abilene region. So it's going to be very hot as we go into late next week on Thursday as well. So make sure to stay hydrated. Make sure to stay cool out there if you work outdoors for any time across Texas next week, because it will be hot. And unfortunately, the news doesn't get much better. So as we go through August 19th, that's into the third week now into August, and we still see above normal temperatures favored from the Climate Prediction Center here across not only the east, but the southern United States and across the west here, with a really big above normal signature up here into Washington State and Oregon going through that August 13th through the 19th time frame, with more northwest flow continuing up here across the northern plains, the upper Midwest into the Ohio Valley. That is going to be keeping us near normal to slightly below normal through that third week there into August. And precipitation trends, well, underneath that high pressure system, we may see a lot more below normal precip, but I am watching here the eastern tropics, the eastern Pacific area. For the tropics, we could be seeing some slightly above normal precip there in western and northwestern California, with some of the moisture trying to move up into that region. That would be some welcome news for the heat out there. It's certainly not going to break the heat for anywhere else, but we're seeing a lot of the rainfall really along and east of the Rockies above normal through the third week there into August through the 19th time frame. And speaking of the tropics, Tropical Storm Eugene has formed there into the eastern Pacific, just off the west coast of Mexico and just south of the Baja of California there, as Hurricane Dora continues to leave the picture and move south of Hawaii. And you can see the eastern Pacific Ocean is lit up with a bunch of convection thunderstorms down here. We have Tropical Storm Eugene starting to organize more there just west of Mexico. And you can see that over the next couple of days, this could strengthen to a hurricane, at least a Category 1 for a time. But as it encounters some cooler waters west of the Baja of California, it's going to start to slowly weaken back to tropical storm status and then tropical depression status by the middle of next week, and then kind of recurve back toward the southwest United States. And this is what I was talking about, as this could actually bring some moisture up to Western California in the form of rainfall that could help with some of the heat out there into Western California there as we go into the middle and late portion of next week. Talking about the North Atlantic, the Caribbean, and the Gulf, no new tropical cyclones are expected over the next week. So the next 7 days, very quiet across these areas. But looking here at the North Atlantic view from the infrared satellite imagery, it also paints a very very quiet picture. We have lots of shear in the western Atlantic here, and we have a couple tropical waves trying to get going off the African coast here, but they're very far south, and really once they get into the eastern Caribbean, they're just going to fall apart because of all of the wind shear that we've been seeing out there. But there could be some changes moving ahead as we get into the third week into August. So let's talk about those for a second here. We have the EPS ensemble members. This is the European ensemble guidance for next week, Monday through Friday. So all next work week, very quiet across the Atlantic, the Caribbean, and the Gulf. So nothing to worry about then. But as we move forward toward that third week into August here, the Climate Prediction Center from August 16th through the 22nd timeframe is favoring a little bit more, conditions more conducive to tropical development, whether it's a tropical depression, tropical storm, hurricane, major hurricane, whatever it may be. There's something that could be occurring as we go closer toward that third week there into August, with another couple of tropical waves trying to move off of African coast there toward the Lesser Antilles and getting toward the Caribbean or even the Western Atlantic, that we may have to watch toward that third week there into August. And the ensemble guidance, the European ensemble, the EPS, is actually hinting at that potential once we get towards the middle of the following week on Wednesday, August 16th. Now, this is 10 days out, but it starts to paint the picture that things may start to ramp up once we get toward that third week there into August, that we may need to watch there in the MDR, the main development region, and even the American ensemble guidance. The GEFS models are hinting at this just a little further south, but you get the general idea that things will be ramping up potentially in a big way once we enter into the second half of August. So we'll be able to keep an eye on this, especially knowing that the sea surface temperatures are boiling across this area, especially in the western Atlantic, the western Caribbean, and the Gulf. These sea surface temperatures, 30 degrees plus Celsius, that is well into the 90s, folks, Fahrenheit. So any tropical system that gets caught into that environment with low shear is going to take off. So we'll continue to monitor this as we get closer toward the second half of August. But again, that's 10 days out. Things can change, and we'll keep you updated on that as we go further along. Well, if you want any additional updates on the weather forecasts, hit the description down below the video. The link is down there for Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. There is HWeather420. There's the link there. And otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate that as well. All the support on the channel, all the new subscribers, all the old subscribers, I really do appreciate it. Make sure you like the video down below. Give it a thumbs up. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today, and I hope everybody has a great rest of their weekend out there.